My name is Beth, and I'm here to tell you a story about a very recent spiritual battle that I was faced with and how God gave me the strength and the tools to fight and overcome this battle with His strength, actually. Kind of in the middle of January, I was at work, and there's a kind of younger, he's probably in his mid-30s, man who works on my floor, and I hadn't ever really spent much time talking with him or getting to know him. And one week I was just being friendly with him in the break room, didn't really think anything of it. Previously, about a month or two before, I had overheard him talking to another woman in the break room. So he had told her that he was married. So I had this knowledge in the back of my head that this was a married man. So that started on Monday, and by a Thursday, he had emailed me and extended an invite to lunch, which I was kind of a little bit taken back by. I didn't really understand why this married man was reaching out to want to go to lunch with me. But this invite was followed by a discussion, which we had in his office on our floor. He wanted to sit and explain to me why he was inviting me to lunch. And through the course of that conversation, which was kind of weird, and I didn't really understand like how something like this happened in real life, he disclosed to me that he was unhappy in his marriage and that he was really looking to get to know me better, and he was hoping that we could go to lunch, continue to go to lunch, and hopefully some sort of relationship would develop out of that. He made it known to me that he wouldn't be leaving his wife because they have a child together. I was thinking like, okay, this is done. I'm just gonna avoid him for the next week or so at work and it'll all be fine. Well, as I was avoiding him and avoiding that break room that next week, he started to reach out to me outside of work. One of the nights I got a Facebook friend request from him, and I was kind of just thinking like, all right, well, I'm not accepting this request. And that was followed by a message where he let me know that he didn't intend to Facebook friend request me, but he had been trying to look at pictures of me because he missed seeing me and he wanted to see pictures of me, because I don't know why people Facebook creep on other people, but it was for one of those reasons. I went into work on another Monday. So this was about 2 weeks after he first told me that he thought we should pursue a relationship together. And I get an instant message from him through our work instant messenger, and he tells me that he's going to be out of the office for the next 3 weeks because him and his father are going to be working on some projects, building something at his house. I didn't really care to ask why. I was just a little bit happy that he wasn't going to be in the office and I could go back and use my break room again. And I just really felt like it was going to be a time where I could pray, and maybe by the time he got back it would all be over. So that was on a Monday. That next Tuesday, I received a series of messages from him, probably the most he'd ever sent, ranging from telling me that he wanted to be with me, that he missed me, that, he just wishes he was with me. And then, that next Wednesday, I had my life group, and I just broke down and started telling them everything that was happening and how scared I was, because at this point, I just didn't know what else I could do or what else I could say to get out of this. I felt like he was trying to wear me down. He was trying to play typical female insecurities on themselves, make me feel wanted. He was trying to make me feel sorry for him. So I just really stepped out and asked them to all start praying for me. And when I had got home, turns out he had sent me another message letting me know that he was home alone with his kids that night, and that he thought I should come over and watch a video or a movie with him and that we could cuddle on the couch. So he gave me his phone number at that point, which didn't really know what to do with, so I sent him a message just letting him know that when I was in college, I'd been betrayed by one of my boyfriends of a long time who I really cared about, and that betrayal that I had felt made me realize that I would never, ever, ever do that to another woman, nor could I do that to another woman. So he continued to message me for the next 2 days, and I just didn't respond. There were some other crazy things going on at work, and I just needed the time to step back and really just search for a way out in God's truth. So at this point, I look back and I really just am amazed and blessed at the things that God has given me and the tools He gave me to fight and to know how to fight this spiritual attack. Didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get out of it. And I knew that I had to fight every day. I had to fight every day to be good, and I had to fight every day to be with God. So I would wake up every morning and I would worship, I would pray, I would seek God's truth in the Bible. I began to fast. And when all of that still didn't seem like enough, I was asking everyone to pray for me because I was scared and I needed help. I do believe that I had a choice to make at that time, and I think that sometimes our lower nature and our sin nature tries to convince us that we should go one way when really our good nature wants us to go another. And I think part of my fear was that my lower nature was going to win, and that the things that I knew was evil and the things I didn't want to do, I was going to start believing, and I was going to start going in that path. So a couple of mornings I woke up late, which I don't typically do, but I was so emotionally exhausted that I think it was playing into everything. But I knew that I had to continue to fight and I had to continue to pray. And so I made the choice to be a little bit late for work and to spend that time in prayer and really seeking God's truth. And God just slowly began to show me like how powerful He was and everything that He had in store for me, and just to remind me of the truth and His power. And just so many powerful verses that really spoke to my heart. One of the other ones that I was given during this time is Psalm 18, 1:4, and it says, "Death bound me with chains, and the floods of ungodliness mounted a massive attack against me. Trapped and helpless, I struggled against the ropes that drew me on to death. In my distress, I screamed to the Lord for His help. As He heard me from heaven, my cry reached His ears. Then the earth rocked and reeled, and mountains shook and trembled. How they quaked. God, He bent the heavens down and came to my defense. Thick darkness was beneath His feet." And I think sometimes that we overlook and we don't think about how powerful God really is. And that was just a reminder to me of God's love, that He was there for me and He was going to defend me and He would bend the heavens down to save me. So I just continued to write all these truths in my journal, and I just filled my pages of my journal with Bible verses and prayers. And, about a week from the point in the story we're at, I was reading in Matthew about fasting and how powerful fasting can be in your prayer life. So I decided to give up watching TV and to just start this non-TV fast, which I did. And I just would pray every morning that the power from that fast would come down and just help everything that I was going through, and that I would just remain in God's favor. So that Friday, a week after I started my fast, I was really, I think, just scared. I was letting fear come into my life. And so I prayed this prayer, and I'm going to read from my journal of what I prayed for that day. I pray, God, for strength again today. Strength to see the truth with the situation, and strength to see your power. I pray that it would be squashed and not carry on towards another day. I pray that you fill my mind with truth, that your spirit screams so loudly that I have to pay attention. So that was on a Friday. So that night I got home from work and I was just doing my own thing at my house, kind of hanging out, not watching TV. It was getting kind of later at night and I received a message from this man, and he had stated that he missed me, and so he asked me if I missed him, to which I responded that I didn't feel like he was mine to miss. And a series of kind of strange messages came across that I didn't really understand, and they weren't really making a lot of sense to me, started happening. One being which he stated that he was pretty tired because there was a newborn in the house. And that seemed a little bit weird to me, but I thought maybe they had friends in town. Maybe his father and mother brought family. I didn't know. So I was like, okay, he's tired. And I was just kind of like, well, why don't you go to bed, whatnot? And at that point, a series of really long messages came across where they read, it was the man's wife. She let me know her name, and she just said, my husband has a long history of cheating on me. He's cheated on me 6 times in the past. He continues to try to cheat on me. She wanted to know how far our relationship had gone, and then she disclosed to me that on Tuesday, the day that he had sent me a ton of messages, she was in the hospital because she was giving birth to their 6th child together, which I had no idea. I had no idea she was pregnant. I had no idea in the slightest that he never mentioned even wanting another kid or having another kid, or that even being an option. And the truth of the situation, where that Wednesday he had invited me to come watch a movie with him, was because she was in the hospital recovering from giving birth to a child. I'm just amazed at God and what he was able to do through this, and how he was able to protect me and pull me out before anything really bad happened to me. But it just goes to show, like, the amount of lies that we could be led to believe. Like, I was fighting against believing that I was lonely, or that I had to fight yet another horrible thing alone, or that only bad things happened to me, that no good man will ever come into my life, that this was it, that this was all I was worthy of. And even as I talk about this, one of those bad things that happened to me in my past was this betrayal I talked about with my boyfriend from college. And, in the midst of all of that and going through that, like 6 years ago, however many years ago, I didn't see the reason why I had to go through that, and why I had to have my heart broken, and why I had to live that horror. And part of it was that it built so much character up in me that 10 years later, when I was faced with an affair, I was able to say no. And I was able to stand on the character that God built me and the woman that he made me who I was, to stand strong and know that I never wanted another woman to go through any of what I'd been through. And I can't protect this man's wife from him, and I can't protect her from him hurting her in the future, but I know that I can do the best to be a good person and fight for the God that I know and I love. I learned that it doesn't matter what we're faced with. We just have to get up every day, and we have to fight, and we have to pray, and we have to worship God, and we have to give him the glory. And even when we're tired and discouraged and scared, the truth is that God will bend the heavens down to save us, and he will do it. And I've seen him do it in my life, and I know he will do it in yours.